Hi, I'm Andy and this is Project Car Haven, and today I'm going to be pulling the gearbox off of this and fixing that oil leak. Before I go to the effort of doing all of that, I like to start with some easy jobs first, and one is replacing that heat-proof shielding on the sensor wire for the temperature gauge in the cabin. Alright, so take this sensor wire off, get the shielding out of the packet, very good. Now the fun part, how am I going to go with feeding that through? Hopefully it's not too painful. Place some tape right on there. Get some scissors, cut halfway through that, should stop the ends fraying. Now it's a matter of taping each end. Thermal sleeve fitted. Alright, that'll be sealed and anchored. Plug you onto here. And previously the spark plug wires are sort of just floating in space with these new brackets. I modified these two, opened up the holes and got some bolts to suit the original mountings for the air filter box. Mounted them down to that, so now all the cables are tightly pulled down and it looks much neater. Well, now I've got that finicky little job out of the way, better commit to doing the big task of getting the transmission off. So to start with, I'm going to lift up the rear end and disconnect the prop shaft and get that out. And out it comes again. Well, I don't have any workshop gloves, so I'm just going to use this sandwich bag to cover the output of the gearbox, so when stuff starts happening, it doesn't leak everywhere. Cool. That's everything on the back end that we need to do, so I'll raise the car back up, get the jack stands out, and then jack up the front of the car. Before I do that though, I'm going to take the shifter out because that's going to make life a lot easier to drop the transmission. Alright, get this rubber boot out of the way. Alright, now I've got the car jacked up. It's a bit hard to see because the jack's in the way, but this is the puddle of oil that's coming out of the transmission that wasn't before. So it's either the input shaft of the gearbox or the crankshaft seal that has given way. So I need to pull this apart, get the clutch out, change those seals, put it all back together. Take the speedo cable off, but I've got a drain pan here just in case it starts flowing out. I mean, it shouldn't, but you never know. I don't know if I needed multi-grips to get that undone, but I thought better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Well, that appears to be somewhat sealed and not dripping. Very good. That can move out of the way for now. I think the best plan of attack here is to remove all the bell housing bolts, pull the starter off, then support the transmission with a jack, take off the supporting cross member, pull the transmission out of the flywheel pilot bearing in the clutch, lower it down and get it out. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't get it, but I had to actually stand in the engine bay over the top of this bolt to get it loose in the starter. These are very tight. This transmission's going to fight me the whole way. You can just sit there. I wonder if I can see anything in there at all yet. Not really. Well, I think we're just going to call that an interesting exercise, because once I started attempting to get to the bolts underneath, it appeared that the sump was leaking. I don't just replace that gasket, but all the bolt torque specs were all over the place. Some were loose, some were tight. It's possible that the heat cycling had caused some expansion and contraction of the gasket or something, I don't know. But all the bolts are tightened up. Now I'm going to monitor to see if that oil leak stops, and if it does, I'm not going to change the clutch just yet. So I'm just going to do up all the things I just undid. I'll be back with you in a minute. Well, I'm most of the way there, but before I drop the front end of the car down, I need to sort out the reverse switch. Now, I've just pulled out the old one, which doesn't appear to work, and the replacement is a different size. There was a ball bearing on top of this, and I can't see how that would work properly. I think this one here needs to be in there because it'll reach further into the gearbox and actually make contact. Regardless, I think this one's dead anyway, and I'll show you what I mean. Just quickly before testing, here we are, 2 reverse switches. So as you can see, the new one will reach in further to the gearbox, which I think it needs to anyway. Got multimeter on continuity mode. Look, I'm not sure if you'll hear this, but when I put the leads together, dead switch, press together on the 2 points. When I press the switch, nothing happens. Now, when I do the same thing with the new switch, seeing as this switch goes into the gearbox up on an angle, trying to set a loose ball bearing on top of that while getting the switch in without this much room for your hand doesn't make for a fun time. I think that's the wrong switch and this is the right one. I'll throw it in and test it out and we'll see if it works. Alright, they're hooked up. Currently no continuity. Now throw the transmission into reverse and see if it activates. Success. We have a working reverse switch. Well, gonna get that drive shaft back on, but as you can see, a fair bit of that nice brand new diff oil's leaked into this bag. Got the drain pan underneath. Hopefully I can just get this off and catch it all. Fingers crossed. Yep, all over my head. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. Little known fact, women actually find the smell of diff oil irresistible. It's like an aphrodisiac. Still got more in the bottle anyway, so instead of trying to save this, I'm just going to open up the fill plug on the gearbox and transfer in some of the good oil I still have in the bottle. Well, I'm at the point where there are 4 main parts left to go. One is the exhaust, of which I have bought some headers, but I still need to figure out the rest. The wheels, which are tucked back over there. The full interior refurb, and just in case you hadn't noticed, the exterior could probably use some bodywork, paint, it's a little bit of attention. So I kind of feel like the wheels should happen closer to the end, because if I do the wheels and then throw them on when it's looking like this, it's not really going to have a really great impact. I mean, sure, new wheels will look nice, but that probably needs to be done first. The exhaust, I have to wait for the parts. I prefer to do the interior because I hate bodywork, but it doesn't make sense to do the interior, have it fully fitted out, and then do paint, maybe get overspray on stuff. So I'm going to bite the bullet and actually start making some cosmetic changes and fix the exterior. Now, because bodywork is my least favorite thing to do, I'm going to start by working on this front section only. The bumper has a dent in it. It's been tweaked out, so I'm going to try and straighten that. The headlight rings have some flaking black paint. They're supposed to be chrome, so I'd like to restore them to the way they're supposed to be. The grille obviously is, I don't know, gross. It needs some attention. These filler panels, they're multicolored. I'd like to make them uniform. And the radiator support probably should be all black, not body color. Maybe it's body color from factory, but I like to try and hide it. So work on just pulling apart the front end. Okay, let's start with the front bumper. Couple of 12mm. Well, that wasn't even tight. Alright, so hopefully that means the bumper is free. Let us see. Next, get these headlight surrounds out, I think. Not even really screwed in there, but okay. That's the most awkward way to do that. Okay, so there's one tab missing off of one of these, two tabs missing off of the one on the other side. I'm going to go shopping for some new ones. I can save two of them, I guess. All right, headlight buckets, let's go. It's a little bit of distraction here for myself. I'm going to strip down these headlight buckets completely. Actually, power tool is going to be better. These screws here actually adjust the direction of where the light points. The spring pulls down, pulls tension on those screws to try and hold it in place. So once these are reinstalled, I'll need to set these to get the headlights pointing in the right direction. But in the meantime, get them apart so I can clean them up and paint them properly. Something worthy of note is it appears the layout is such that these can be used either left or right. It's just a matter of sticking the lugs in the right spot to suit the side, as there's availability for swapping these over. Let's just go right back, get these braces off, get the horns out. Why not? Probably a good thing I pulled the guards off. I expected these rubber seals here to be completely perished, but it hasn't rusted out the corner, so that's good. It's pretty much the same on the other side, except with a surprise. The corner here is not rusted out, but wasp nest. I mean, I found plenty, but that's another one to get rid of. So time to get to work to that. Just go, get out, die. Eviction notice has been served. You're gone. I guess if I'm in the mood for pulling stuff apart, I may as well go overboard like I normally do. And there's 3 bolts holding this on, so I may as well take that out and clean this up too. Got to get online and order some of the rubber seals between the front guard and the wheel liner. Stops any water and dirt getting in here and rusting this out, which is a good thing. Now that I'm getting carried away with pulling everything off the front end and I have some sandblasting to do, might as well get these guys off and sort these out at the same time. The backing plates need a bit of cleaning up, and obviously that needs a bit of blasting. Get rid of all this flaking chrome and then sort something out. You might be able to tell it's the next day. After I finished pulling off those parts, I was getting ready to sandblast them. Thought I'll take a little break. Went browsing online and I found something that I just couldn't resist. So the rest of my day was taken up by going out and picking up a couple of hookers. These kind of hookers, mufflers. No. So obviously secondhand, but I got them for a good price. There's a bit of tubing there I can work with, maybe start fabbing up most of an exhaust once the headers arrive from down south. In the meantime, I'm going to roll this out, wash it down, get it ready for paint, and start sandblasting some stuff. Now while I'm waiting for that to dry before I apply paint, I'm going to sandblast some of these parts because some of them are a bit rusty and they need to be cleaned up before I also paint them. It's time to get on with it, I guess. So I only sandblasted some of the parts, things like the front parker light housings look much better now. Alright, so all the parts have been taken off, cleaned up, ready for a coat of paint. I need to black out everything on the front end. So most of the painted parts sitting here all dry. Now it's just a matter of reassembly, almost. The headlight surrounds. I've cleaned this one up because previous owners painted all around there and they should have nice chrome rings. I've removed the paint. You can see where the factory coating has finished here. So that one needs a bit more cleaning up. This one needs total cleaning, so I'll sort that out before attempting some reassembly. It's going to take a while. Alright, so that's both of these cleaned up. There's a bit of tarnishing here on the chrome. So I'm going to use this Autosol metal polish to try and bring that up to a nice shiny finish. Yeah, I would say that's going to come up just fine.
Later.
That's one done, so that's polished versus unpolished. So yeah, that metal polish made a difference. After this is done, I'll need to mask up to get this line straight again on both of these, repaint the backgrounds black, and then these are done. I've still got some polishing left to do before I refit everything. The corner lenses need a bit of cleaning, probably a polish, remove the slight scratches. Surrounds on these housings need a polish. I would polish the headlight surrounding rings, except that one has 2 tabs. That one has 1.5. Thankfully I found another set online, so I'll polish these up as well. They have all the tabs, which is kind of important. And along with that purchase I got a couple of spare gauges. I don't really need them because the ones in the car work, but I like buying spare parts that I don't really need, just in case. And I could clean up these Parker lenses, but I have some brand new ones to replace them with, so I'll keep those as spares. And just from that first pass, you can see that's a lot brighter now. I'm going to go over it again and do this one and bring them up nice and shiny. I know that looks like a pointless load of effort there, but it does make a significant difference, and I'm going to be pretty happy with the result once it's finished. No one else will notice, but you know, I'm not doing it for anyone else really. Feeling a bit lazy, so I'm just going to use some mechanical assistance to polish the corner indicator lenses, and then think I'm about ready to start throwing everything back on the front end. I know you can't see it, but there's only a couple of fairly significant scratches left, and they're reduced. The rest has come up really good. And go another round and see if I can knock those deeper scratches out. Might be really hard to tell, but this one appears to be much more shiny than this one. Oh, didn't need that to happen. Yes, I did want to polish my toolbox. How did you know? And the tools. Shiny. Alright, assembly. Time to start making things happen. Alright, so I'm going to throw the front guards back on before I do the rest of the front end. I'm only going to fix them with a couple of bolts because I need to take them off again anyway, because new seals for the liners are on their way to seal the gap between the fender and the fender liner, so there's no point in me fixing it completely. It's just going to save me some time down the track. So all of these lenses are only held in by one screw because I'm waiting for new gaskets to suit to stop the dirt and crud getting in. So I need to take these back out, but for the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm just fitting them up as is for now, and I'll sort that out at a later date. Well, so that's the front end reassembled. It's not complete. I still need to polish the bumper. I still need to polish the chrome strip on the grille. The valance is only held in by a couple of bolts because I have to take the guards off. The lights need repositioning so they're set perfectly once the guards are bolted in fully. But otherwise, that's this front end pretty much refurbished. Well, I know it doesn't make much difference, but that is one more piece of the puzzle almost completed. I did want to sort of show off the completed front end, but things tie into other things, requires more work, like all of the bodywork and paint. So I guess that's enough for this episode, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.